In this video, we're going to dive into some fundamental image SEO and optimization tips, more specifically pertaining to WordPress, to help you get started and learn more about how you can help your images perform best on your website. If you're familiar with some of the basics, I'm going to post a table of contents to help you skip through to the parts that are most relevant for your level and experience. Let's start with some of the image basics. For your image color space, we want to use RGB, which is for web. It has a larger color space. You may have noticed that RGB files look a little more vibrant than CMYK, and there's only 3 channels versus 4, which helps create a smaller file size when you save. Let's take a look at Photoshop. If you go to image mode, you want to make sure your image you're working in RGB color. The most common formats I'm going to cover is JPEG and PNG. So JPEGs are most popular for complex images and photographs. This is what you're most commonly going to upload. For your logo or any other icons or graphics, a PNG is going to give you a transparent background and you're going to get a crisper image or text saved out from a PNG. 72 dpi is your web format resolution. If you go to your image size, you'll see that my resolution is set to 72 pixels. If your document's not already in pixels, you can turn on your rulers with Command R on a Mac or Control R. You can right click and select, make sure you're on pixels for the web. As for dimensions, these are standards that I generally use when I'm saving out images for web. So if you have a vertical format, I usually do a max of 1200 pixels. If it's a wide image, for most general content, I'll save it out as 1200 pixels. If it's going to be a full-scale background or a hero banner, you can increase that. You just want to check your file size, which brings us to the next slide of file sizes. For large background images, I would shoot for 500 or less kilobytes, and other content that you're inserting into posts, shoot for 200 to 350. If you can get it smaller than that without losing too much quality, then just save. It just depends on the complexity of the image. How you can check what size you're saving out your image: if we go to Photoshop, File, Export, Save for Web, or Command Option Shift S, you can quickly set to high or very high to see what the quality looks like. So at 60% quality, this really doesn't look too bad. I have the width at 1600 pixels, and if you look here in the bottom left, you can see we're at 221.5 kilobytes. So you'll see if I do that up to maximum, the extra quality is not giving us that much more that we need to sacrifice the file size for the load time. So we could get away with 60. In general, a lot of my images I'll put at 70, 75, or 80, and it just really depends on the type of image that you're working with. If we look at it at 1200, again, we've reduced the file size quite a bit more. So you just have to think about how you are planning to use the images. When you're naming your files, it's best to do this before you upload. So of course, if you describe the image in a few words, usually around 5 words or so, less if you don't need them. think of the words that people are searching, this is much more likely to show up in a Google image search than just a numbered image off your camera. I do also want to note that I separate names, the file names, instead of spaces. I use a hyphen instead of an underscore. As I mentioned, it's best to resize and name your images properly before you upload them to WordPress. It's going to be a lot more difficult to change them after the fact, and you're going to just save a lot more time. There's also, if you want to optimize your time, if you're saving out a bunch of images, you can set up a batch script in Adobe Bridge to save out at your max width or height to speed up that process. If you want to upload your images and have them compress more, tinypng.com is a website I've used for that, and it'll just help compress images and save you more on file size. Next, let's take a look inside WordPress at some of the settings I will change before I even start using my website. So these are the standard settings in WordPress settings media. I usually keep crop on so we get a square format. For thumbnails, I will change them to 300 so they're a little bit larger. Medium size, 600 or 800. And then large size. And again, this is just my personal preference based on most of the websites I've generally designed and developed. I also don't care for the native month and year folders, so again, that's a personal preference. Now if we jump over to the code, I've got a child theme of this shop aisle theme, and I've got just the basic files and a page template started. But what we're going to do is add a snippet to our functions.php. Which is going to allow us to keep better organization of each of our functions that we're adding. If we continue to add it onto this file, it's going to get a lot harder to read, so this is just purely for organization and just helps benefit you later, and also if you're working on a team. So what this script is doing is we're going to create a functions directory, and it's going to scan all of the PHP function files we're going to add to that to help keep this file clean. So in my child theme, I'm going to create a new folder called functions. Let's take a look at just a sample page. And we're going to insert a block image. So let's grab this abstract art image. And if we look at how it was uploaded, you can see to the right it's just added a title with the hyphens, and the other fields are blank. If we look at the source code, you'll see there's a whole bunch of links here to all the different sizes that WordPress formatted this image upload to. I don't use the image sizes for responsive building in this way, so what I like to do is remove this source set right here, which includes all of these image sizes. So the first code snippet we're going to do and add into our functions folder is disable source set. And I'm going to copy the function name as I create the file. to help it be more descriptive so that I know what this function is doing later. So let's go ahead and save, refresh our page, and you can see now this is much more concise. We are missing an alt tag and a title tag currently, which we do want for SEO reasons, to help describe what the image is and also to help with accessibility if the image were to not load. So I'm going to be adding a couple more scripts. So this is a pretty long snippet. If you look through here, I've commented out a couple of lines, and I'll show you why. So this image is going to help fill out the media attachment fields when we upload it. So let's go back to our page and add a block image again. We're going to upload a new image. And if we look at the attributes, the code has now taken the file name and removed hyphens and filled out each of these with the duplicate content. So I like to keep it trimmed out a little bit more than this with just the title and alt text, because otherwise I would have to go through and manually delete all those, which is not efficient. So that's why I commented out this post excerpt and content for the caption description. So 2 forward slashes will comment out those lines. I'm going to go ahead and save it, and I'm going to upload another one so you can see that difference. So now we've just got our alt text and the title. We update the page and look at the source code again. You'll see that the alt tag has been pulled in, but there's still no title tag. So there's currently a bug in Gutenberg blocks that is not allowing the global title attribute to be output. So for now, I'm going to show you the method of the post thumbnail on a custom template that will pull in the image, title, and attribute. So I'm going to open another page. And I've set up a template here under page templates called My Template. And within this template, I've included the post thumbnail at medium size. So I've applied under page attributes My Template, and we need to set a featured image. Let's just do another one so we can see the difference. So we've got the alt text, title text, good. And if we view the source code, you'll see that our post thumbnail is pulling in the alt tag, but we need to add one more script to include the title. So this script right here is the last function we need to add. I usually like to keep all lowercase, and you can separate with underscores or hyphens on these. So let's copy this last script, which is going to give us the title and alt tag on our post thumbnail. So if we look at our theme again, I've got a functions directory with these 3 functions. I'm going to do a refresh of my custom template page. And you can see now that we have the alt text and we also have the title text. A few plugins I want to note that can help with compression are Insanity. I've been using that one for several years, and it'll allow you to batch resize or downsize images. Smush It is another popular one, and WP Optimize. There's a whole lot more that could be covered about image optimization, such as serving images that are smaller for mobile devices, and also lazy loading, or serving your images from a content delivery network. But for now, these are some basics to at least get you started saving out, naming, and inserting your images with the proper SEO tags for readability. If this video helped you out, please like the video and subscribe. Thanks for watching.